The next speaker does not require an introduction. However, I sincerely apologize to him because it took me a while to digest his biography. And he requested very humbly, and that really says a lot about his character. And subhanAllah, it is a very great thing to have knowledge in different fields of Islam, especially holding something called as ijaza in various forms, in various sciences, linguistically and Islamically speaking. So he is a Grand Mufti at Islamic Affairs and Charitable Activities Department in Dubai, none other than Dr. Muhammad Al-Kubaisi. فليتفضل مشكورا.
You are tired already? Still have... So let us try that again, okay? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. MashaAllah, I am pleased. Now, speaking about family and the concept of family, Islam is very vast, but I'll try to summarize it, and probably you will find some interesting and surprising point. Because as the brother mentioned, as we clarified yesterday as well, there are lots of ignorance in this regard. And the culture and Islam are mixed sometimes, and some points that contradict Islam or are not based on Islam are thought to be Islamic, which is not the case. So we'll try our best, inshallah, I'll speak about the basis of the relationship and the etiquettes of that relationship. Interestingly, the Holy Quran describes the relationship, the family relationship, with beautiful descriptions, never described in this way before. One of them, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about the relationship between husband and wife as being clothing to one another. They are clothed for you, you are clothed for them. Now, libas in Arabic that was used, it's not only cloth as materialistic one, but it contains all that element of closeness, fitting, touching, and being used for different reasons, for protection, for beauty, for presentations, for covering, for satisfaction, all of that in this relationship. And this summarizes that concept of relationship. And another interesting description in the Holy Quran of the relationship is as partner or companion. Sahiba. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke about the wife as sahiba, the companion of him. And in the hereafter, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about the difficulties in the hereafter, that a person will run away from his brother, his mother, his father, then his companion, that is the wife, and finally from his children. So abandoning them, the rest of the family are abandoned much before it comes to the wife and then finally to the kids. This is how close they are. And this is a reality. Because the companionship between you and your spouse is the longest one, usually. The one that takes most span per day, because it's repeated all the time. You don't meet your other friends as often as with them. And it is the most effective one as well, both ways. So you can change and be changed with that relationship. And the basics that Islam puts, there are three main basics, or rather five. Three main and two additional ones that is explanatory. The first one, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the creation of Adam and Hawa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لِيَسْكُنَ إِلَيْهَا, so that he will rest or reside in peace and tranquility to her. He didn't say with her. This is very interesting. In Arabic, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't say لِيَسْكُنَ مَعَهَا, to reside in tranquility with her. He said to her. She will be his peace and tranquility. So it's not the materialistic part of the family. It is the wife. And same wise, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke about the interrelationship between husband and wife, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned the second form, لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again is using the exact form, not مَعَهَا. That is towards them. This is very interesting. Because when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke about the creation, he said, min anfusikum. You are the same, both of you are human. In the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are equal, no differences. We can explain this in detail later on. But this element of peace, tranquility, peace of mind, peace of heart, peace in talking, in discussion, all of that is a must. Without this element of tranquility, there is no such thing as happy household or happy family, ever. If it is not peaceful, it is a war zone, as the brothers discussed before. So unless you provide that, it's not going to work. That tranquility, when you feel, you must have none among your friends, some people who love to go back home as soon as they finish their work or their duties. There are others who hate going back home because it's not a tranquil place. He does not feel easy there. He does not feel at peace. So the problem is with that element that we have to take into mind. The second thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned is love and intimacy. And here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is speaking about the emotional relationship, the emotional concept. All of these, by the way, are mentioned in one single verse in the Holy Quran. All the bases. The second one, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, He instilled between you love and intimacy. That intimacy and love is very important for the emotional satisfaction from marriage. If a person is not getting enough from that, in a legal way, in a halal way, from the spouse, from his partner, God forbid, he might seek it from outside. This is a critical thing. Both of them should do their best to satisfy the other partner in these things. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He spoke about this relationship, and He said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, each one of you is a covering or a clothing for the other. They are clothing for you, you are clothing for them. So from the Islamic point of view, all these rights, the emotional one, the intimate relationship, both partner has equal right to it. So denying one of them that right is considered an injustice, which is a sin in Islam. This is what gives the emotional security, if you would like. The next one is speaking about mercy. Mercy means what? In the dealing, any type of dealing, you'd like to request something, whether it's your right or something extra, or whether you are providing that thing, whether it's your duty or you are providing something extra, it has to have that element of mercy. So the way you talk, the way you ask, the way you argue, the way you discuss, don't forget that mercy, ever. So it has to be within your element, whether you are dealing with your parents, with your spouses, with your brothers, or the rest of the family, or even with your children. That element of mercy is very important. And the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, he is not one of us, the one who does not respect the elder and have mercy upon the younger. So that element of mercy is critical in Islam. Let's take just some example from the life of the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Umar al-Khattab and Bakr radiallahu anhu. The Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was upset with the wives because they demanded some extra materialistic benefits from him. When the rest of the Muslims became wealthy and they were spending with their families, so they are seeing everybody around them prospering, they were not getting much extra. So they demanded from the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that, which the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told them to give them a choice whether they choose this world or the hereafter. The Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was upset with this, so Umar radiallahu anhu, Abu Bakr came to visit him and they found him upset. So Umar radiallahu anhu said, by Allah Almighty, I will make the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam smile. I will not leave him with this. So he came to the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and said, O Messenger of Allah, had you seen me when my wife asked me for an extra and I punched her in her neck? So I didn't tolerate that. What? Asking me for what? Extra. Why are you doing that? So I did not discuss with her at all. And Abu Bakr radiallahu anh said something similar, trying to cheer the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam up. Means you are extra patient with them. Just tell them no and that's it. But that is not the nature of the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not the teaching of the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Anyway, the point that is mentioned, there is a very beautiful story that comes to mind. There was a woman that was very bad with her husband. So whatever he says, whenever she speaks, very harsh to him, and she does not appreciate him at all. And he was a scholar. So he was very patient with her. But one day he was filled up with all this harshness, and he said, why don't you come over to the masjid where I give lectures and look and see how people treat me. And he's in front of people, he's presented like I am here in front of you. So anyway, she said, okay. He was there, sitting, and all students around him, mashallah, inside the masjid. So she came, looked, she went back home. When he went there, he said, have you seen them? Have you seen how they He said, see what? I don't know how bad could you go. You are inside the masjid, everybody is quiet, only you are talking. This is a masjid, why are you doing that? So concept, see, she's only looking at the bad aspect, not appreciating all the efforts he's doing. So that is missing, that point is missing. Another similar story, a woman that was always saying bad things or making things worse for the husband. And he says, let us be peaceful. Let us have little mercy between us, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said. So instead of you, tormenting me every day, let us just have one day off. So one day you torment me as much as you like. The second day you give me peace. You're merciful to me. You agree? Because he could not change her. This is her nature. I understand. Okay, but at least let us make it 50-50. She agreed. So the first day, that was the day of tormenting. So she was, okay, going fine, everything is nice. Next day, she cannot say anything. Just waiting. Then she cannot hold this. Say, tomorrow is the torment day. Every 5 minutes, tomorrow, just wait. Tomorrow, so even that day, he was not concept. You could see examples of this from husband and wife. But the concept, some people are not willing to go or to abide by these guidelines. If you do not change yourself, don't expect much change from the other party, nor from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as He said, Allah Almighty does not change what is with people unless or until they change what is within themselves. So the initiation of change has to come from you, from this point. Next point is equality and justice. That is the fourth element. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clearly said in the Holy Quran, He said, and for them, the wives, are similar to what is upon them with good living or good companionship. And for men, an extra degree. That is their responsibility. They are in charge. They have to provide, they have to pay, they have to spend on the family. And some cultures are different in Islam. So from the Islamic point of view, the wife does not have to pay anything in marriage. And we do mean nothing at all. So the mahar has to be from the husband altogether, 100%. The place of residence, that is from the husband. The sustenance from the husband. The clothing, the medicine, the expenditure on her or in the kids. All of that has to be from the husband from the Islamic point of view. Some other cultures have different arrangement. But from the Islamic point of view, the woman has her own duties and rights, and the man has his own duties and rights, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Holy Quran. However, the charge of the whole household, of the whole family, is in the hand of the husband. He is the manager of that. This is a degree of responsibility. A degree of responsibility because he is in charge, as the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned. The fifth point, which is living with them on good ground. The family house has to be, the whole life has to be on good grounds. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned this. وَعَاشِرُوهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. Live with them on good grounds. What does it mean? Good in everything. The Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned 5 different points of this. These are the basics, the minimum of good livings. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Messenger of Muhammad said, the first one is feeding them from what you feed, exactly. Giving them equal status to whatever. Here he is speaking about the inner needs. Then the Messenger of Muhammad spoke about the outer needs, the outside. And clothe them when you clothe yourself. Same thing. And then the Messenger of Muhammad mentioned 3 things that you should avoid. The first one is hitting them, especially the face. Don't hit the face, ever. Here he is speaking about the physical punishment. You should avoid that. The second, the Messenger of Muhammad is speaking about the emotional harm. And here, do not say ugly words, or do not insult or uglify. Never do that. Here speaking about what? The verbal harm, or the psychological harm. And finally, the Messenger of Muhammad is speaking about the emotional harm, and never be upset or angry with them outside the house. You want to desert them within the house. These guidelines, and the brothers will agree with me, those will help solve out the problem, because the biggest problem is sometimes when there is a disagreement between husband and wife and the husband leaves the house, or the wife leaves the house and goes back to her friends or her family. Here, you have already jeopardized most of the possibilities of reconciliation, because differences and problems are going to happen, whether you like it or not. This is real life. This is not a movie. In real life, you will find the good and the bad. There will be clashes and disagreements. Have you never disagreed with your own father, with your own mother, with your own sister, with your own brother? For sure you have disagreed. Now, when you are living with a person 24/7, for sure you will disagree with something. There will be some form of touches from time to time. It is not about whether they will happen or not. It's about how to deal with them from the Islamic point of view. We'll come to the etiquettes now about this relationship to know some of the glimpses about this. Now, these etiquettes, the first one is mutual respect. And the second one from the Islamic point of view is appreciation. Appreciate what the husband is doing for the family. Appreciate what the woman is doing for the family. One clear example, at the time of Umar radiallahu anhu. Umar radiallahu anhu was the Khalifa, the second Khalifa. And he is now the Khalifa of a very large empire. An empire that destroyed the biggest two empires at the time. That was the time of Umar radiallahu anhu, one of the biggest and greatest leader ever in Islam. And he led for quite a long time. Now Umar radiallahu anhu was very humble as well. So as a leader, yes, he was very strong. And with men, he was strong. But inside the house, he was more like a child, playing with the children and living with them normally and having argument with the wife. So that was the normal case. A man was having problem from his wife. So he said, I'm going to complain you to Umar radiallahu anhu. Umar is very tough. Everybody fears Umar radiallahu anhu, including the shaitan, as the Messenger of Allah said. So he said, I'll complain to Umar. So he went to Umar radiallahu anhu. His wife is giving him lots of trouble. He could not solve the problem. So he said, the best thing is seek help from Umar radiallahu anhu. He came to Umar radiallahu anhu, and when he reached the house, he heard that the wife of Umar radiallahu anhu is yelling at him. And Umar is not replying. So I said, if she's doing this to Umar, so there's no use. So he went back. Now Umar radiallahu anhu opened the door. He saw him going out. He said, come here. What did you want to say? He said, no, nothing. He said, no, tell me the truth. He said, no, actually, I have problems with my wife. But when I came here and I heard your wife yelling at you, I thought, my wife is much better than that. I said, it doesn't make sense to complain now. So Umar radiallahu anhu, he said, shouldn't I appreciate what she is doing? She is the mother of my children. She is taking care of my food and my clothes and my house. She is my companion in life. I have to be patient with her. She would like to let off some steam on me. Fine. That is why some people tell you, it's very difficult to win an argument with a woman. Only way to win it is if the last word will be with her. So, yes, so I'll give you a secret. It's very easy to solve that problem. From the beginning, just listen and say, I'm sorry, it's all my fault. And that's it. This is the best way to solve that argument. If you continue arguing, it doesn't work. Even Umar is not arguing with her. In the beginning, when they started arguing, actually, in Mecca, the women, they didn't argue with the husbands at all. Their culture was, no, the woman does not say anything. But in Medina, they changed. They found the women of Medina are arguing with their husbands. So the women of Quraysh, they learned this. Okay, so a woman can actually argue with her husband. Fine. Very beautiful. So now they have something new. So Umar radiallahu anhu, the first day it happened, at the very beginning of Islam. Umar radiallahu anhu coming back home and he's asking her, his wife for something, and she is replying to him. He said, are you arguing with me? She said, yes. Why don't I argue with you? Even the wives of the messenger are arguing with him. He says, what? He says, yeah, the wives of the messenger of Allah. So he immediately rushed to his daughter, that is Hafsa. She is the wife of the messenger of Allah, fearing that, what are you doing? Are you arguing with the messenger of Allah? She said, yes, we do argue with the messenger of Allah. He said, don't you fear that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be angry with you? He said, no, he allows us to argue and discuss, and we present our opinion. It's just, he said, and do you get angry with him? She said, yes, we do angry with him. You get angry with the Messenger of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Said, yes. We get angry with him, and sometimes for the whole day till night. So the whole day, she is still upset, subhanAllah. So understanding this, allow her to express herself, even if she differs with you. That is one of the rights, actually, that is mentioned. Lots of other topics, about 12 or 15, and I think time will not help us. It's in the last few seconds. So very quickly, inshallah, we'll go through them. The second thing is respect the hobbies of the other spouse. The Messenger of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, very beautifully, Aisha is describing that. She said, I used to play with dolls and made up things with my friends in the house of the Messenger of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And when he comes, sometimes they escape. So the Messenger of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam secretly leaves and sends them back to play with me. And she said, appreciate how the Messenger of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam took care of letting me play. That is the hobby. She was young and she wanted to play. So the Messenger of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam will allow her that. And this is one of the highlight as well. Also, if you make a mistake, seek forgiveness, say, I'm sorry. Very clear. The Messenger of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said when he spoke about, shall I not tell you about your wives in heaven, in paradise? The one that is compassionate and loving, and the one that gives children, and the one that when the husband gets angry, she holds on to his hand, and she says, I will never sleep unless you are pleased. The husband should also do the same. This is very critical. Abu Dharr radiallahu anhu, he said, we have found a solution because he agrees with his wife from day one. He says, when I am angry, please me. And when you are angry, I will please you. If we don't agree on this, we cannot live together. Which is true. When a person is angry, he might say things that he does not mean. And he might say bad things or harsh things. And if you argue, it will only get worse. So when someone is angry, just leave him to cool off, and then it will be solved. And a very wise woman once said, when she was told, what do you do when your husband is angry? She says, I try my best to please him. She says, what about if he says harsh thing about you? She says, I know that he does not mean them. She said, what do you mean? He just said it. This is what is in his mind, and he blow it off. She said, do you want me to believe what he says at a moment of anger and ignore what he has been saying to me throughout his life when he's happy? Very wise. So you are taking only the word that was said at the moment of anger and ignoring everything else. This is not wise. I think we are almost out of time. It's the last 10 or 15 minutes. So very quickly, remember the good things, ignore the bad. The Messenger of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, a true believer never hates a true believing woman. If he dislikes something about her, he likes other things about her. This is very critical in real life. Sometimes you visit a friend, for example, and find a well-prepared banquet. And you say, mashallah, your wife cooked all of that. She's very good. She's a better cook than your wife. So you start underestimating your wife. Or you go and you find a very beautiful place or household or decor, and you might not appreciate what your wife is doing. That is not the whole story. Maybe she is a bad woman. Maybe she does not love him as much as your wife. Maybe she is not as good with kids as yours, or she is not as good with her neighbors or with his parents. Or you never know about the whole story. You are seeing only one picture. The Messenger of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if you dislike something, there must be other things that you like. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also guided us, I will conclude with this, to keep the hope alive. Look at the bright side, keep the hope alive. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, in worst case scenario, when husband and wife hate each other, could it be any worse? They hate each other. Allah Almighty says, and when you hate them, that is when you reach that moment, then probably that you hate something, and in it Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring much good to you. Even when it reached that, still give it a chance. Wait, it could get better. And subhanAllah. And from experience, and probably the brother will tell you as well, from experience, we have so many experiences, because sometimes at the beginning of life, in counseling, you see people who are just reaching the breaking point, but later on when they pass that, they get back together and they are fine and they live happily forever. If you could pass these tests in life, that is when the relationship gets closer and it becomes mature, because most of them in the beginning are immature. Lots of other points, but very quickly, inshallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make our families happy and tranquil and peaceful and based on love and intimacy and mercy and compassion. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring to us the best in this world and the hereafter. Ameen. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam.